Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last. Mothers and fathers.
It's time for another conversation. I am Noreen Daly and welcome to Making It Last podcast. And with me is Michaela Cameron Anderson. And before I even introduce the topic, I want you to tell us, Michaela, who you are, because just now, before we started this recording, you said something and I want you to say it just as how you said it, because I don't think I'll quite say it that way. So you are Michaela Cameron Anderson and you are a...
I am a communications practitioner. I'm exploring the social sciences.
Okay. That is to give you a context, because what we're talking about this time is how can the misuse of social media negatively impact relationships. Let me just add something to Michaela's qualification, so to speak. She's actually the social media coordinator for the Department of Communication Studies at Northern Caribbean University. And if it is that you have any occasion to visit any of our platforms, you'll recognize that she continues to do good work where that is concerned. So, before we get into the topic itself, just as a base, or just to give people a background, when we think social media, what do we mean?
When we think about social media, we are thinking about many platforms that individuals use in the digital space. So you're thinking about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. For more career-minded individuals, you're going to find yourself on LinkedIn.
Okay.
But we also have so many other platforms. YouTube is a platform. A new one that is on the scenes now is TikTok. You have Snapchat, and these cater to individuals who are of a young age group.
Young?
Very young.
Okay. Michaela, young is relative, but that's
very young. Snapchat and TikTok generally appeals to individuals who are in their adolescent teenage years. But we're finding more and more individuals who are keeping up with the trends, also engaged on these platforms.
Okay. So, how can the misuse, and what then would we describe as misuse? And then we get into the other aspect.
In general, as we think about social media, we are thinking about individuals who are exploring themselves. But anyone who wants to share who they are, we know that see me, come live with me, two different things.
Okay.
But you find that individuals create this image of themselves for the public space. So what you see in the public domain on social media about an individual, a lot of times it's not really who they are. It's just a facade. They want you to see something that is not necessarily there. So an individual who is very secure in themselves, who know who they are, they would rather live in the moment and capture those memories mentally than capture it in a screen, post it, create a hype
about it.
I can say for public relations, that's spin.
Okay.
And it's exaggeration. It's making something seem better than it is.
Okay. So for you, the misuse is the fact that people actually create this, as you said, this facade. What about those people who respond though, Michaela, and say that for them, that is just who they are, or maybe that is who they want to become?
The aspiration. Sure, I aspire to have a lifestyle on a yacht. And therefore, I go into the pier and I take an image with a yacht behind me. Are we actually putting in the work in order to attain that level of success? Because, yes, we aspire mentally, but are we physically putting systems in place, doing the work to get there? It's the same thing with relationships.
Which is a nice segue into the other aspect of it, which is how can the misuse then of social media negatively impact our relationship? And this is relationships in the general sense. If you want to be specific in terms of a type of relationship, you can do that.
Or I'm married, been married before. I can't say social media had an impact on that. However, a lot of times, there's a principle. If you're having an issue with your partner, you need to deal with the issue with your partner. You don't
Okay.
carry mommy and daddy and sister and cousin and auntie and best friend into it, because they have their own dynamics of that relationship. And if you influence them by how you feel in this moment, in the heated moment, it can impact their continued relationship with your partner. And once you
True.
have resolved that issue with your partner, they still have the feelings carrying, and it still impacts and creates a poison in that relationship. Social media, you share all of your business on social media, and everybody has an opinion about it, even when they shouldn't. You want a space to express yourself, but it's not necessarily a safe space, because everybody has an opinion, and those opinions, mentally, psychologically, sometimes physically, have a toll on who you are.
What about somebody who will say, but if it is, for example, people who classify themselves as public figure, so they believe that if it is that I'm a public figure, my life is for public consumption. What then would be your response
They
to that?
still
Because
have
of
a
course,
private life.
okay. So is it then that people then need to make the distinction between what is public and private, and is that something that society can determine, or is left up to the individual?
If I can air my dirty laundry about everything that is happening in my life, all power to me. But as individuals and humans, we have this need for creating a safe space for ourselves, and that's the reason you go in the bathroom and you lock up yourself in the bathroom. So yes, public figure, but how much of that do you actually expose to the public? I mean, we have those icons in the United States. They invite the media, the camera into their homes. And yes, it's a whole setup, but do you actually see them when they go to the bathroom? Do you see when they really kick off and butt heads?
Yeah.
They still have to maintain a certain level of their individuality and uniqueness.
Okay. Well, we started talking about the fact that it's negative, but let's end with a positive. How can then social media actually positively impact our relationships? Because yes, we focus on them, but we can also put the positive
So
side to
for
it.
me personally, and I've met individuals who, when they take pictures, oh, you can't post that, take that down. For me, social media helps me to find balance, especially if I am going to be posting about myself and my partner. I am going to bear in mind that my partner has feelings about certain things, and we bounce ideas off each other, so that if I am going to post something about us, it is about us and it's not about me, because we can become narcissistic when we think about our
For somebody who just knows
social
saying,
media
okay, that's a
page.
big word. What does that mean, ma'am?
I'm all about myself.
Okay, right.
But if you're really, really involved, you respect the relationship, you respect that it's not just about myself as an individual. You're sharing space in a relationship that you're sharing with the world. You're also going to consider the fact that this individual has feelings. This individual has opinions about themselves and about us and about what we air.
Okay. So as we're wrapping up, just in general, whether it is negative or positive, specifically in terms of relationships, what then would you say to somebody in terms of their use of social media and then its eventual impact on relationships?
Think about what it is you want the world to know about you and filter it. I don't know if I can be more concise.
No, but hear what it is though. Think about what it is that you want the world, but how many of us are actually at the point we actually know what we want the world to know? Because remember, given the fact that you even said earlier in the conversation at the beginning that a lot of the social media platforms are used by young people who are still discovering themselves.
So, for my daughter, I say to her, you need to think about your career.
Okay.
You want to be a medical doctor.
Okay.
You want to get involved in politics. Politics is not an easy game. You need to make sure that the world thinks you are squeaky clean and don't give them ammunition. Therefore, if you're posting something, you need to decide, is this something I can live with 20 years from now when I want to show my face in public? Is it going to come back to me? Can I live with it? Can I deal with the backlash? Because there are consequences.
I am smiling because I hear the young people a lot of times saying that these days Snapchat is it. I'm not on Snapchat. I don't intend on it. It took me a while to get on Twitter. And one of the reasons I do this is because I relate to young people a lot and I need to know, what is happening. But I am very deliberate on all of the platforms that I'm on in terms of what I post. And a lot of it is because of, at this point in my life, I know the image or the brand that I want to portray to the public. So for people who are still transitioning, and then not to just believe what you just said, what then is the one to do and the one not to do?
Let's start with the not to do.
Yeah.
Don't share certain types of conflicts.
Okay.
Is it one? No, I have two.
All right, go ahead.
Don't share your private space.
Okay.
Don't share images of nudes.
Okay.
If you're okay in your bathing suit, still make it tasteful.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a string bikini. Because those images still come back and it can interrupt and
Yes.
cast a negative light on the job that you want. Unless, of course, you're going into modeling. And not many of us can get into that.
True.
To do.
To do.
Decide, as you said, what your brand is and build your brand. It's your lifestyle. Your brand is your lifestyle. So decide on it and keep building.
Okay. You gave two don'ts, so you have to
know.
you always have to balance it.
Yes, I'm going in a rabbit hole now. The other thing to do is be deliberate about what it is you want to post, because there are some things that can even if it's positive, there are some things that can cause you not to get into certain types of jobs and careers. It eliminates you.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law pointed it out the other day. If you want to work in a particular industry, you want them not to think of you as overly religious. So I had to go and look at my page and see what it is. I mean, yes, I'm a religious person. Yes, I'm a Christian and I want to emulate Christ. But I also want to make a living and feed my family.
Yeah. We've said a lot, but any final words?
I really don't have any final words because it's going to be a spiral.
Meaning? What does that mean?
Meaning that we might go off on a tangent on another topic.
And that we will not do. No, because as communicators, we've tried to be clear and concise with whatever we're talking about. It was a pleasure having you this time around. And I get a feeling you'll be back.
Thanks for having me.
Just a feeling I have. That was Making It Last podcast with your host, Nerdy. It's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives,